tradition here in San Francisco, a very dense union town, despite the many troubles that we're experiencing right now. But under Walter's leadership, under the leadership of so many of the leaders in the United Food and Commercial Workers, we're proud to have them as a member of our Labor Council. But I want to be very clear about a couple things. For those of you who don't know, one of our great locals, UFCW Local 101, just merged with United Food and Commercial Workers Local 5. Now Local 5 has its main headquarters down in San Jose. We're not going to hold that against you. But this is the first time, I think, that there's been a real presence for United Food and Commercial Workers Local 5 with the merger with Local 1 to be here in San Francisco. I've heard some wonderful things about the commitment that they have to organizing, to making a bigger presence and working with us here in San Francisco. And it is with great pleasure that I want to introduce to you here in San Francisco, and I want you all to give him a big welcome because we're going to be seeing a lot of this guy, is the president of the 32,000 member United Food and Commercial Workers Local 5, President Ron Lynn.
On behalf of Local 5, we really do appreciate it. And I'm really pleased on behalf of Local 5 and the United Food and Commercial Workers International Union to be here tonight to honor a brother, a friend, a mentor, and a UFCW Local 5 member, Walter Johnson, by bestowing life membership upon him. We've got a great cross-section of folks here tonight. We've got Local 5 members, other union members, community leaders, environmental leaders, political leaders, our community partners, some of our friends in the employer community. I particularly want to recognize our sister local, Local 648, several representatives from that local here. I'm not sure whether you've seen it. Thank you for being here, Local 648. We'll be working with them on a number of projects. So as Tim said, Local 5 represents 32,000 members in the San Francisco and Monterey Bay areas. And thanks in part to the recent merger of Local 101 that's created that size. Well, in addition to giving jurisdiction to Local 5 in the great city of San Francisco, including more than 1,000 members at Macy's, we inherited a labor leader that we in the UFCW believe is a national treasure. W. Walter, by the way. Thank you. I also think, we talked about the merger of Local 101. I wanted to recognize the former president of Local 101 and current executive vice president of Local 5, Mike Forstel, who's back there. So we have our computer file today, and if it's correct, Walter first joined our union in November of 1955. Now, I was around in 1955, but I was drinking my lunch out of a bottle. Okay? 1955, Walter. You remember, he says. And he's been a continuous member since that time, starting as a young retail worker and then becoming a leader in his union, the Department Store Employees Union, Local 900, one of the predecessor unions of Local 5, then moving on to be the head of all of labor in San Francisco, the head of the San Francisco Labor Council, as well as doing a lot of other important events and a lot of other important work throughout the community here in San Francisco. Walter's career and his commitment to improving the lives of working folks here in San Francisco and throughout California and throughout the nation is really legendary. Now, I once worked for Walter, and I asked him to remember this, and it's an interesting story. Back in the early 1980s, I think it was 1984, the president of my local decided that, one of the things would be good for your education as a union organizer, that's what I was at the time, would be to go work with Walter Johnson for a week. Follow him around. So So I was sent up to San Francisco to follow Walter around. It was not an easy task, let me tell you that. This man back then, he could move. And a little anecdote, this was before there were cell phones. But Walter always had someone to talk to. And we'd be walking down Market Street or walking around Union Square, wherever we were going. And let's just say, to Walter Johnson, a payphone was like a fire hydrant is to a dog. He would not walk by a payphone without stopping to make a call to someone on some important union business. Here's the other thing I remember about Walter Johnson. I went to a meeting, I think it was with Woolworth employees, one of the shops that we had at Local 1100, and we were having, I think, a ratification meeting for their contract. And some of the workers raised this issue that they were having on the job. It's like 9:30 at night, right? So I'm used to when workers raise this issue, it's something we have to deal with the company. All right, we'll call them the next day, we'll try to work through this, we'll get back to you. Oh, no. Walter stopped the meeting, went into his office, called the store manager from the Woolworth store, and got that problem resolved and came back and reported it to the members. That's the kind of work that Walter did for his union members and for the labor movement. Now, lifetime membership in the UFCW is an honor that's given to very few men and women. The requirements are at least 25 years as a consecutive member. Well, with that standard, Walter should get a double lifetime membership, because it's been over 50 years. And also, service with distinction as the leader of one of our local unions. And clearly, Walter was a distinctive leader of Local 1100 and of the United Food and Commercial Workers Union and the Retail Clerks Union prior to that. Now, typically, we present this honor upon retirement. The problem is, as you know, Walter Johnson will never truly retire from his service to the working men and women of San Francisco. We had a really nice dinner for him a number of years ago. I was there, I'm sure most of you were, which was sort of a retirement dinner, but again, Walter will never retire. So I have the great privilege tonight, as one of my first official acts as a member of the great San Francisco labor family, to be able to take care of this important bit of unfinished business. But that's going to come in a little while because of a few speakers that I'm going to introduce to say a few words about Walter. And the first one, I see he has arrived, although he's quickly scratching his final